Monika Roberts. I'm the School Administrative Secretary at Lucy Barnsley Elementary School. I am the Co-Vice President for the Office Chapter Global 500 at CIU. Before I start with what I was going to tell you, I want to read to you a memo that I got at 3:53 this afternoon. It was prompted because of an email that I put out at 8:30 this morning when I realized that I had my final copy of the student yellow emergency cards that I wasn't supposed to get until next month. Dear elementary school secretaries, there was a mix-up in the date for printing the elementary emergency cards. We realize that your school may not have finished entering your school's emergency cards because of the original date published was October 27, 2017. If your school has not finished entering data and would like to receive a new set of emergency cards, please let us know by November 8th. Cards to be delivered on November 8th. Please email Jenny Royer by October 20th, which is tomorrow. So, and then again, we apologize for the confusion in delivering the forms early. Now, let me tell you a story. We're getting ready for the beginning of the school year. And this is not just me and my school, this is all of the elementary schools in Montgomery County. It is July 9th and the summer flip is getting ready to happen. That means the student records are flipped to the next school year and the first round of scheduling is due July 12th. Homeroom and learning skills. Now that has been part of our job for many years. However, this year we had to have it done the same time we had to start our summer withdrawals and enrollments, close our financial books for the previous year, close our payroll for the previous year, finish our ordering, and for some of us, move to a new school or move to a holding school or have our supplies delivered. Mind you, usually this is due the end of July, beginning of August. With the abolishment of the IDA position, the consideration of their workload was lost in translation somewhere. The IDA was a grade 16, 5-hour position in most schools. Those 5 hours have been shifted to the front office secretaries who have a workload that is overtaxed, with only one of them in the school during the summer. Just how do you expect them to get 13 hours of work done in 8 hours a day? So, here we go, sectioning. The first thing about sectioning was training. When some people went to the training, they were informed by the trainer that they really didn't know what they were doing yet because they hadn't learned it. So how are the trainers expected to train us who really know nothing from someone who kind of knows nothing? Timing. All of this was supposed to be done by August 27th. The training that attendance secretaries could go to was August 31st. Also, most of this work could not be done until teachers came back. You see, after the first week of school, everyone is changed based on where they are on the educational ruler. Articulation that is done at the end of the previous year usually gets transposed when you have teachers leave, new teachers come, enrollment rises. Doing the sectioning in September was unbearable. The process. With no clear-cut directions or training, we were left to figure it out on our own. Who could we ask? We were not supposed to ask the former IDA if she still was in our building, but there was no one else to ask. Music, PE, art, instrumental music, ESOL have very specific steps that none of us knew anything about, nor were we instructed on. When all of this is completed, it is supposed to be uploaded into Gradebook, which was also updated this summer, which none of us knew about until we flipped the switch to open Gradebook and we got a whole new screen. Well, let's look at this. Gradebook upgrade, who knew when it was going to happen? None of us knew. Somebody had to know before the first day of school. Courses. Now in elementary school, you probably think the courses are reading, writing, math, social studies, and science. And that is basically true. But did you ever consider compacted math or departmentalization? Well, that was new to us too. That meant you had to take what used to be a one-step process and now make it a 2, 3, or even 4-step process. Each step takes a few more minutes. Now we are approximately 1 hour to get one teacher's section with one subject. Recap. IDA position was a grade 16 5-hour position. The attendance secretary who is doing most of this work is a grade 12 8-hour position. Yes, they have 8 hours to get the job done, but what happens to the 8 hours of work that they had before you added the IDA work? Where did that additional 5 hours come from? Now, on a positive note, the school system did offer clerical hours, and we thank you very much for that, to be done over the summer. But that was offered after most of the attendance secretaries had already made plans for their summer vacation. So that meant somebody else would come in and do the job for those few hours. Sometimes a para, sometimes a teacher, sometimes a bus driver. But that meant you had to train them on just how an office works before you can even get to the clerical part. Some of those wonderful worker bees had no clue what sectioning was, and they were there to help over the summer. And God bless them, that each and every one of them helped immensely. But it was really difficult when they had no clue what they were doing, and I had no clue how to train them to do what they were doing. The next thing, the parent-student administrative portal. Warning, it would have been nice if we knew it was coming. You see, 10-month attendance secretaries are not in the schools over the summer. Therefore, they do not read emails, so they do not know what is happening. They don't read memos. They don't have to, they're not required to. Training, a webinar and 3 pages of directions. That just didn't work, because for everything you do on the computer, there's always something that slides in that you're not prepared for. Oasis to the portal. We, the secretaries, were under the impression that the information from Oasis would be migrated into the portal. Well, it didn't work out that way. When 702 forms went out to see if the information was correct on the student information sheets, all 702 came back to the school because somebody changed everything. Where was the migration of the information? We now had to put it on the portal. But when we pulled up the portal, the information from last year for us to change wasn't there. Now, we are in the school year. The deadline is October 27th, and we have the phones, the VMS, the ACS, the teachers, the students, the administrators, and anybody else who walks in the door. For the parents, we are the front line of service. It is embarrassing when we are the ones who are supposed to be helpful to the parents when we do not know the answers. It makes us look bad, it makes our schools look bad, and ultimately it makes MCPS look bad. First of all, I want to let you know that we, the secretaries in the schools, love our jobs. We love our students and staff. We come and we do the job every day, and we will continue to do our job. However, there comes a time when enough is enough. The feeling of disrespect, being unappreciated, and placed under a large amount of stress is wearing us down. We are committed to our administrators, our staff, and above all, our students. But we cannot continue to get all of this done in the 8 hours we work every day. So I say all this, and I don't mean to be rude or disrespectful to anyone. We have talked about this at school administrative secretary meetings for a while now. This past Tuesday we met and we talked again. And we've come up with solutions, or at least ideas for solutions. And we would love it if you would reach out to us and hear some of our solutions. Like I said, we are not being disrespectful. We love our jobs, we love our schools. But we feel disrespected. When I get a phone call from someone who is drastically upset because they could not get everything done, or when they call and said they stayed at work till 5:30, 6 o'clock because the amount of work on their desk was too great, or they were staying there because everybody had left and there was still a student that hadn't gotten picked up. That's dedication, and that comes from our heart. It's not coming from our minds, from our fingertips. It is coming from our heart and our soul. We have given everything we have to our schools and to MCPS and to the students we love. We only ask that you give us a little bit of respect back.